What if everything you've been taught to fear about death is wrong? What if the moment you've imagined your entire life as unbearable, painful, or terrifying isn't that at all? Most of us carry an image of dying shaped by films, stories, and quiet warnings passed down through generations. Images filled with struggle, suffering, and a final desperate breath. A moment framed as something violent, something to fear. But according to the readings of Edgar Cayce, the moment of death is nothing like that. He described it not as agony, but as recognition, not as loss, but as release. Almost like a deep spiritual exhale after a lifetime of holding everything in. That idea is unsettling at first, because if the soul experiences peace where the body appears to suffer, then everything we think we know about dying begins to fall apart. And maybe that's exactly why this fear exists. Maybe it isn't natural at all. Maybe it's inherited. And what Cayce revealed has a way of dissolving that fear almost instantly. To understand what he meant, you have to stop viewing death as a physical collapse and begin seeing it as a transition of consciousness. The body may struggle. Yes, it tightens, weakens, flickers. But the soul is not trapped inside those sensations the way we've been taught to believe. Cayce described a separation that often begins before the final breath, a quiet withdrawal, as if the soul gently steps back from the noise of the body and drifts into a wider, calmer awareness. What appears as suffering from the outside may feel internally like loosening, like detachment, like returning to something deeply familiar. He spoke of death as a lifting, a movement toward clarity rather than pain. The veil thins, awareness expands, and the fear we associate with dying belongs to the body, not the consciousness leaving it. Culture taught us to see death as violent. Movies trained us to fear it. But according to Cayce, the soul experiences something far closer to coming home than being torn away. And once you glimpse that perspective, the grip of fear begins to weaken. When you look closely at Cayce's readings, the message becomes even clearer and far more consistent than most people expect. While in trance, he spoke repeatedly about the exact moment the soul releases from the body. And again, what he described was gentle, sometimes instantaneous, sometimes gradual, but always guided, always calm. I've spent time studying these transcripts, and what follows is simply an interpretation of what Cayce shared. Not doctrine, not absolute truth, just the understanding that emerges from his body of work. And one distinction appears over and over again. Pain belongs to the body, not the soul. The suffering we witness at the end of life is physical, biological, mechanical. But the soul has already stepped away from those sensations, already risen into a broader field of awareness. In Cayce's view, death isn't a tearing. It's a release. Not an ending, but a return. And once you hold that idea, even briefly, fear begins to loosen its hold. As we move deeper into this mystery, these ideas stop feeling abstract and begin touching real stories. Stories of people who stood at the threshold between life and whatever comes next. Consider the man dying from cancer who spent his final months consumed by fear, not of death itself, but of the pain he believed would overwhelm him at the end. He told his family that moment terrified him more than anything. But when it came, something unexpected happened. His breathing softened, his body relaxed, and for the first time in weeks, peace appeared on his face. After briefly being revived during a medical intervention, he described the moment not as agony, but as release, like stepping out of a cramped room into open air. What tormented his body never touched his soul, and the same is true for you. Then there was the woman who clinically died during surgery. While her body was in crisis, alarms sounding, doctors rushing, urgency filling the room, her consciousness experienced something entirely different. She later explained that the instant her heart stopped, she felt herself rise into a stillness so profound it felt like being lifted into warmth. She said it was like stepping out of fear itself, as if the panic she left behind belonged to another world entirely. Her body struggled. Her soul did not. And the same is true for you. And then there was the child who passed suddenly, leaving a family drowning in grief. They imagined the worst, that their child's final moment must have been filled with terror or confusion. But months later, the mother had a dream so vivid it felt more like a visitation. The child appeared surrounded by a soft light, calm and smiling, as if embraced by something deeply familiar. Cayce often spoke of children being guided instantly and lovingly, without a single moment of fear or loneliness. And when the family learned this, something inside their grief shifted. For the first time, they sensed that their child's transition had been gentle, protected, held. Hearing these stories, you may feel something stir within you. Not fear, but recognition. Because the deeper question is this: have you ever wondered what your loved one actually felt in their final moment? Have you spent nights imagining suffering that may never have touched their soul at all? What if the truth is far softer than you feared? What if at the moment their body struggled, their consciousness had already risen into peace? What if the pain you imagined belonged only to the physical form they were leaving behind? Cayce's teachings gently remind us that the soul's experience of dying is profoundly different from the body's. The soul is not harmed by what the body endures. It is not trapped in the body's final sensations. And here is the deeper truth. Your soul already knows this passage. It is the mind that is only now remembering. To understand what dying truly feels like, Cayce's readings point to three consistent experiences of the soul, patterns that give shape to what seems mysterious to the living. The first is separation. As the body reaches its final stage, the soul quietly detaches, leaving behind physical pain and fear. The struggle the body endures never touches awareness. The soul is already free, already observing. The second is expansion. Consciousness rises into clarity, memory, and recognition. The soul witnesses the life it lived, the connections it formed, and the lessons it carried. Awareness blooms. Perspective replaces confusion. The third is homecoming. The soul reconnects with guides, with loved ones who have passed, with the source itself. This phase is often described as radiant, peaceful, and astonishingly gentle. Within these stages, Cayce emphasized a simple truth. Pain belongs to the body. Awareness belongs to the soul. Liberation occurs naturally, and the life review unfolds as part of a graceful transition. When you see dying this way, death is no longer an enemy. It becomes a guided passage, a sacred movement that carries the soul home, and it reframes the fear we, as the living, often project onto what is already serene for the soul. When all of this comes together, the truth Cayce consistently revealed becomes transformative. Death is not destruction. It is return. The soul experiences release, not agony. Every final breath is a step into awareness, a shedding of the physical self, a reunion with consciousness that has always existed. Fear, tension, and pain belong to the living, projected outward through attachment. But the soul moves through the transition with astonishing calm. In the clearest expression of Cayce's vision, death is like a prisoner walking through an unlocked door, astonished it was ever afraid. The body may struggle, but the soul knows liberation, clarity, and love. And understanding this changes everything. It reshapes how we see life, loss, and grief. If this brought peace to your heart, honor it. Share it with someone who fears death. Let them know comfort exists beyond what the body experiences, that the soul is always free. In engaging with this understanding, You participate in something sacred, a quiet recognition of continuity, a remembrance that love does not end. Those we love do not endure the pain we fear for them. They move into clarity, into light, into peace. Death is not an end. It is a continuation, a homecoming where souls are guided, protected, and welcomed. Every final breath is part of a sacred journey, leaving behind love and memory for those still living. You are not alone in your grief, and you are never without guidance. This is beyond the twist, where fear dissolves, and the deeper truth of the soul quietly reveals itself.